Okay, second time's a charm, maybe? I just tried going live a few minutes ago and it would not let me. So hopefully I'm live now. Get comments up on my iPad here. Which gets more difficult every single time I try to do this. I don't know what the deal is. Hey, Debbie. Hey, Roberta. My iPad plugged in. Hi, Linda. Okay. So I got stressed for a minute there, thinking I wasn't, hey, Chris, wasn't going to be able to get on live here, but it looks like now it's working. So today, let me get my inks I'm gonna need. Old Olive. I think that's the only inks I'm gonna need. Okay, looks like everybody's popping in here. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Laura. I saw a notification come through that you commented in our Blessed2Craft group. So our there's a specific group for all the members. And if you have a question and you left it there and you need it answered, just let me know and I can answer it right here. If not, I'll get to it when I get done being live here. So thanks everybody for popping in. It is July 28th. So something that I've done this month is I have shifted the timeline for this, for Blessed2Craft. So I normally, or before, when I first started, I was doing the live video for putting our projects together. I was doing that the last Friday of the month. And then I was doing like, you had to sign up by like the second Monday of the month. And then I was shipping by like the third Wednesday of the month. It just doesn't work. Like it just, I don't know. There's no reason to go into the big back end of the situation of how it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So everything has just been shifted to date based. So like if you're wanting to sign up for Blessed2Craft, you have to do it by the 12th of the month to receive the kit. And then the live, what we're doing right now will be on the 28th of the month. So for November and December, I know that that kind of falls right in the middle of like holiday stuff. So I'm not sure what I will do for those months, if I will just shift it so it's a couple days after. It'll just depend. Like I'm just not, it's 2 months out of the year that it potentially could be an issue. So I'm just not going to worry about that until a little bit later. But today we're going to make our projects for July. And these are all Christmas in July themed cards. And we used the In Good Taste designer paper. The other thing that that's going to allow me to do is I'm trying to make sure I get out a supply list at the very beginning of the month so that if you guys want to purchase the stamp set that I'm using, or like if you need ink, that kind of thing, like if maybe you don't have the exact ink colors, I'm trying to get that posted so that you can have the supplies that you want to have on hand. The entire, my entire desire for this is that we're crafting together, that you can get your make and take project and then you can hang out with us live and do your project when I'm doing it. And then if you can't make the live, it is recorded and I send the link out so that you get to see the video regardless of whether you're here live. So yay, let's get started. I'm using Cherry Cobbler and Old Olive today. Those are the inks that I'm using. And then I used the Itty Bitty Christmas and the Perfect Plaid. And we just used sentiments out of these. I didn't do any type of stamped images for these cards because I was very limited with the Christmas stamp sets that we have currently available right now for you to purchase. Now, next month, that won't be the case because our fall winter catalog goes live. So these are the ones that I chose. I'm always going to try to choose something that if you just have different sentiments on hand, you can swap them out. That's kind of the other goal of mine, is that you don't necessarily have to have the exact stamp sets that I have. If you get the kit, you're going to get all the supplies to put your project together, and then you can swap out your stamps. Okay. So the first one we're going to do now, what I wanted to mention to you guys that are getting the kit is all of your cards came in one envelope, like one clear envelope, and all the pieces to each card are in the card like this, and then there's an envelope and then the next pieces. And so if you pull out your card, your project, the only one that this is a little bit different on is one I'll show you coming up. On this next one, there are definitely pieces that fell out of the card, but this is basically how you'll have all of your pieces. And I need to grab my designer paper. That's the only thing I don't have. So hold on one second. Okay, and then the other thing is that you will have to cut your own designer paper because you get your own designer paper in the packet. And then when you get your Blessed2Craft packet, you get a printed PDF. So your printed PDF is in your package. This month you would have received your fall winter catalog as well. And then you cut your designer paper and you can follow the measurements on the PDF. I am not going to give measurements today in this video for what we're doing because that's exclusive information to members who get the make and take and who pay for that. But you'll get to see me make the projects. So all of your pieces are in here, and you guys can let me know if it's super terrible for you guys and you're like, all my pieces got mixed up and it was really horrible. Let me know. I usually package everything in individual bags, but I'm just trying to cut back on packaging supplies. And so I'm trying it this way, and then let me know. In your package, Laura, you didn't get a catalog? But you got your make and take? I'm going to wait 1 second for Laura to... I know there's a little bit of a delay. So I know that I actually almost did... Nobody actually almost got catalogs because I forgot to put them in the package. And then I opened everybody's package to get... Did you get your make and take? Did I just like randomly miss getting you a catalog? Because I opened everybody's package and repackaged everything to put catalogs in packages. So I must have missed yours. Okay, so I don't have a pen with me on yeah, I do. Let me just make a note to get a catalog sent out to you. I'm sorry, Laura. Okay. Sorry, guys. I have to write a note or I will forget. Hey, Bridget. Okay. I'm sorry, Laura. I must have just missed your package, which is so weird. Oh, maybe I stuck your make and take in with that, with what you won. Okay, that makes sense. So this is the paper that we used. I thought that this paper was really great for Christmas cards. And you could really like, even this, you could do like some pink themed cards, or like this one, you could do like winter, like blue and silver, blue and gray type cards. So this is what we're using. I just have a bunch of random pieces out and I'll cut this up. Okay, so let's start with our snowflake. This is a retired die that I used. All of your pieces may not be perfectly punched out, but they should punch out if you we might just have missed a few, but it should be totally cut fine. So there's this snowflake. We have a really awesome snowflake bundle that's coming in the fall winter catalog. So if you don't have a snowflake set, definitely be on the watch out for that. I just ordered it yesterday. I'm hoping it'll be here by next week when I do the catalog walkthrough. So the next few pieces that you have is you have a piece of Whisper White and then a piece of Early Espresso. So our color combo this month is Cherry Cobbler, Old Olive, Early Espresso, Whisper White, and then there's some Crumb Cake. Okay, so this card is going to open up this way. And you can put a piece of Whisper White cardstock in here if you want. So you have something to write on. And then we can attach these two pieces right here. And then we're going to get some designer paper. Just like that. I have a love for Early Espresso cardstock and Cherry Cobbler. Actually, the very first Stampin' Up! Cards I ever made were Christmas cards, and the demonstrator that came and did my party used Cherry Cobbler and Early Espresso, and I just fell in love. So we're going to take this and I'm going to trim this down to what I need. I'm actually using my little mini trimmer to do this part. And it's this beautiful wood grain piece. And so we can add this piece. So just a few simple layers. I can't get this quite lined up. I'm probably being too picky. Okay, so if you get the make and take packet, you get the pieces to make your project, and then you get some product. And this month, everybody got a full roll of linen thread. And then some gold. I'm hoping I have some open. Some gold glitter dots. Are these it? No. I have a little embellishment caddy that has most of the items that we have available, but I don't have any gold enamel dots. Now, do I have any at all? And then this is kind of my backup pieces, and it does not look like I have any gold enamel. Here's all my enamel dots because I love them. Okay, so I'm gonna open these. We don't have these anymore, these red and green ones, but this is what I'm gonna use because they're Christmassy. These were in the catalog last year, the holiday catalog last year. So we'll use these. And then also everybody got designer paper. So the idea is that you will get product and then projects to make. So now with this piece, we can pop this piece up, and then you have this little sliver here. And this was actually, I want to say it was like sort of an accident when I was designing this project. I had a bunch of these like slivers from like cutting different things. And I was like, I think I want to use this. And so it ended up making its way onto this card. And you could do a couple different things with it. I'm going to show you. I'm just using some fun foam. And then I want to, can you guys see that? Yeah, you guys can see that. Okay, so I just want to center that. Let's make sure it's in the right direction. So I want to center it. Now for this piece, you could totally flag the end of this and make it to where it came down. I'm going to do that because I want to show you guys just a different way to use this than what I originally did. I want to give you guys a couple ideas. So I'm going to take my snips. And I'm just going to flag the very end of this. Okay. And then I'm going to trim this off. So it's the full length to where it will stretch. If you got the kit, you can just put it on here just like this. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim a tiny bit off. So it doesn't stretch all the way. And then what I'm going to do is just put it right on here so you can see it's not going to stretch all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom. Like so. Okay. So the original one, you can see it stretches from the top to the bottom. But this is just a little bit of a different way to use it. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is take a little bit of this twine. This is linen thread, which I love. And I'm just going to tie a bow. And then I'm going to use a glue dot. I'm going to press that to the glue dot. And then I just sort of bunch that. Oops. What is that? Okay. I kind of bunch that up. This is my X-Acto knife, and it's really dull. The blade's not, it's really not sharp at all. Let's kind of bunch that up under the twine and press that down. And then we can trim that. Like so. And then our snowflake is going to go on, and of course it needs some dimensionals. And I think 3 fit on here really well. Okay. Like so. Look how cute is that. So then there is this circle right here. And for this one, I used Joy to the World is the sentiment I used. Again, you could use anything. I'm going to get my white StazOn out. And StazOn ink pads tend to I don't know if it's just where I live or if this is in general, but mine just dry up. So instead of inking up the whole ink pad, I just find that if I do that, it doesn't matter because the next time I get my white StazOn out, it's going to be dry. So I always just ink it as I use it. I just put a little bit on there. And StazOn is a permanent ink and it's really sticky. And in our catalog, we have brown StazOn and black StazOn, which tend to stay inked up. I don't know why the white doesn't, but it just doesn't. It dries out. And so I just get my white StazOn. I just get it on Amazon, to be honest. Most of the crafting supplies that I get, if I don't get them from Stampin' Up, I get them from Amazon. So that piece is just going to go right in the middle, and I'm going to not touch it too much. You can see already it's starting to get red because the bottom part wasn't as inked up. So I just want that to dry. It's going to take a few minutes for it to dry, but that's the first card. And then here's the original one where this piece isn't flagged. So I would love to know which one you guys like better. Do you like it flagged like this on the end, or do you just like the piece going from top to bottom? So that's our first card. The second card is this one here. And it is the one with the mason jar where we used the mason jar punch. I have several pieces in here because I always cut extras. Like when we're cutting stuff, I just tend to cut 2 or 3 extras just in case somebody doesn't get their kit, or you never know what the issue could be. So then we're going to pick a piece of paper. I'm going to use this one, which is not the one I used in the original card. But we'll just see the difference. So I just need to cut my designer paper. I like doing, when I'm doing them live for you guys, it's fun sometimes to do something a little bit different on the card so that you guys can see the different ways that you can put these together. So this one's a really, really simple one. They're all pretty simple. You guys know I like my simple cards. I don't like things that are complicated that are going to take me all day to make. I've got too many projects to make for it to take all day, right? Okay, so we have this on here, and then we have our beautiful mason jar, which came from the mason jar punch. This is available. Let me grab it and show you guys. It's so cute. Now, I did not get the bundle with this product. Like I didn't get the stamp set that goes with it. I just got the punch because I love the punch, but I wasn't crazy about the stamp set. And then also there is little mason jar, like shaker, like pieces that coordinate where you can punch out the jar and then put the piece inside. And then you could fill it and make it like a shaker. So I'm taking cherry cobbler ink and I'm just taking a sponge dauber. And we're going to ink all around the edges. And it's going to darken up those edges and give it some definition. And I love doing this. This is actually how I found Stampin' Up! Is I had really gotten into this technique of inking the edges of different things. And I wanted to find some ink pads that you could get re-inkers for. I actually wasn't looking for ink pads to stamp with. I had actually never stamped anything ever. Like I had never had a stamp where I like stamped something to make it. And I was looking for ink pads that were really good quality that I could get a re-inker for. And I found Stampin' Up! And I saw that they had re-inkers. And I just called a demonstrator that was closest to me, you know, in my area. And I just said, will you come do a party for me? And she did. And I loved their cardstock and I loved their inks. And that's actually what I started buying is their inks and the cardstocks, and I was using my Cricut a lot, and I really didn't purchase stamp sets. You know, I really didn't purchase stamp sets right away. It took me a little while to kind of get into stamping and to feel like I really loved it. And now I do. But it really wasn't for their stamping that I fell in love with Stampin' Up! Product. So I just tied a bow on here, right around the jar. And I added a little bit of ink right here to the, where the linen thread would be, so that it would just, again, give it a little bit more depth. And it would shadow. Okay, and then next you have this tiny little star. And it's a stitched star from the Stitched Stars. And I'm just going to put that in the middle. And then you have 2 of these. And what you're going to want to do is snip them apart. This is from the Sprig Punch. And they're cut in Old Olive. And then what we're going to do is take our old, hi Dawn. We're going to take our Old Olive ink pad. And again, another sponge dauber. And I'm going to use this little scratch piece of paper that says Laura's catalog reminder. And because these are so tiny, I'm not going to necessarily try to ink the edges like perfectly. What I'm going to do is just add some ink to these. And I'm sort of doing it on the edge. I definitely want some of the lighter part of the cardstock to show. But this is the best way to kind of get these little tiny pieces. And you're going to do all 4 because you'll probably need all 4. I found that I really did end up using all 4 of these. You just want some color. And this part is kind of fun. Kind of get in here and use your inks. Hey, Shannon. Okay. So now we're going to put this together. So we have this piece. This is a die that's retired, and it has been on the clearance rack for the longest time. And I actually went to go grab the product to link because I was like, oh, these dies have been on the clearance rack forever, and they must have sold out in the last week or so. And I love these dies. It was a product we had a bit to go, and I really love them, and I still use them. So if you were lucky enough to grab them, I'm using Cherry Cobbler, and this is Crumb Cake cardstock. And not bad. It's pretty straight. I can live with it. Okay, so now on the mason jar, what we want to do is add some dimension because we're going to add our sprigs here. We are going to add them after. So what we want to make sure that we do is leave the middle part of our jar kind of open, okay? So put these dimensionals on the edge, okay? So now we're gonna put our jar here at an angle, and then our sentiment can go here, and I'm gonna tuck that a tiny bit under my jar. Can you guys see? Am I even on camera? Yeah, I am. Sometimes I just am crafting away and not paying attention. Okay, so now our little sprigs here, we're gonna turn them over because I definitely want where I inked to show. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of snail. You could do this with a glue dot, you know, whichever adhesive you kind of prefer. I like the snail because I know it's going to come off my surface. And then what you're going to do is just add these. And see, that's why you want to make sure that you have room to get them sort of down there in the middle. And like I said, I liked using 4. You know, you might only want to use 3. Depending. Gets a little bit harder when, oops. Oh, and I put it through the twine. I put this one through the twine. There you go. And then just press those down. And you can even lift this, you know, lift this one up and tuck it underneath. You know, lift this one and bend it. I probably should have put my jar down a little bit farther. It's a little high up, but what's done is done. Okay, so here's this one, and it does not come with my hair. I like both of these, and then what you can do with your gold, if you have the gold enamel dots, I think I'm going to use green on here. Ooh, that's not the same green, so I might need to use red. I think I'm going to have to use red since it's not the same color green. You guys would have gold. So if you got the kit, you're going to have gold, and that's totally going to go. So you could just sprinkle them. I feel like this really needs to go lower, and I don't know that I can really... Anybody get picky like this? I feel like I really want this to go lower. Is it going to work? We might be able to make this work, you guys. I shouldn't be so picky. It's just a card, right? It's homemade. It's not Hallmark. But I feel like it needs to be lower. And he's done. Oh, I've opened a can of worms, you guys. It's okay. It's okay. This is where I should learn to let things go. Okay. Now that this jar is like, I mean, it is bent up, you guys. Now, was that worth it to make it lower? Well, I think it was, but... Okay, so there's my jar. That's really all jacked up. But I do like this brick. So if you want to use the brick instead of the wood grain, sometimes I go a little bit crazy with like the wood grain. So if you definitely want to use the brick, you totally can. It does look good. Okay, so now let's do our last card. Now this one is the one in your package. You probably had stars all over the place. So these teeny tiny stars are from a very old punch. It's an old border punch. And there was no way to kind of keep all of the teeny tiny stars inside the card, especially because this is a fancy fold card. Let me get all my pieces out. So see, like they're everywhere. And I gave you guys a lot of these. So what I do is I have always loved this punch. And I actually have these. I've punched a ton of different colors. So I have these stars in silver and gold and black. And then I also have the hearts. And I just keep them in these containers like this. Let me pull out another set. Okay, so here's my dazzling detail stars. So they're just white stars. And so I have a ton of these. And so here's the silver ones. So I gave you guys a ton. So you guys will have, if you got the Make and Take packet, you will have a lot of these left over, and just save them because they're so cute on projects. So for this one, you have a crumb cake base. And what I've done is I've cut it at 4 1/4. And then I've folded it you know, I've scored it at 5.5. So it looks like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going to turn it on its side and then you're going to fold it in half. So I don't think I did this fold for everybody. I think that your card, when it comes in your packet, probably looks like this. So then you're just going to take this flap and you're going to fold it halfway back so that you get this fun fold card. Now, if you don't like fun fold cards, if you're like, yeah, kind of not my thing, you don't have to do it a fun fold. You could do this design just on your card front. Hey, Tammy. So the first thing I want to do is add my old olive piece. But what I want to do is get this adhesive off my surface first. And then take your sponge dauber and add some ink here. Now, who else loves this sound? You either love that sound or it's like nails on a chalkboard. I personally love it. So I'm just adding color all to the edge. Make sure you don't stick your old olive sponge dauber in your cherry cobbler ink. That wouldn't be fun. Okay, so now you can add it, and then that color is really gonna pop once you add it to your base here. Okay, so just like so. Then you have that. So next I'm going to do, I'm grabbing a piece. I'm going to do this darker piece of designer paper. Hey, Missy. And I just need to cut my designer paper. I think I got that measurement right. Now this is really much darker than, that's a little bit, I think I probably need to do that again. I was just trying to estimate what it was. Let me do that again. This might be better. But I feel like this looks like it's too much. See, it is. Might be better if I just measured. Okay, pretty good. Okay, so this is much darker than the original one, but we're just gonna go with it. So now let's add this piece. To our card. Very pretty, right? Okay, so the next we have another Whisper White and Early Espresso. And I'm thinking maybe that this piece of designer paper I picked, maybe it's too dark. I don't know that this is gonna look good now. And this piece is gonna go right over this edge. So let's do our stamping first. So I wanna use from Itty Bitty Christmas, my favorite, which is the Thinking of You at Christmas. And we'll do that in, we're gonna do it in green. Okay. And this is the tricky part. On my card that I did, I felt like I didn't stamp it in the right place. So this one I'm doing a little bit lower. I'm doing kind of in that corner. So next you're just gonna wanna center this And go ahead and put on quite a bit of adhesive if you're not using a strong adhesive like Stamp and Seal. If you're using that, you're probably fine with not putting as much. But with like snail, I'm definitely going to put quite a bit on there. And then this piece is going to hang off this. So then when you open it, it looks like this. Cute, right? Okay. So now there's these stars. So here's the first one. And I'm going to pop this one up. Could use a little dimension. Like so. Okay. And then I'm going to put it right here. And then you have these other stars. And there's this red one, which is a little bit larger. And I'm going to do it so it goes under. And then there's this really, really tiny one. It was a pain to cut all these really tiny ones. We're going to put that there. And then you're going to sprinkle these other tiny little stars over the rest of the card. So what I like to do is just take my liquid glue. Aw, Laura, thanks. She said, these cards are all so adorable. I may have trouble giving them away. And so I'm just going to... I just add some glue. And the great thing about these stars is they're a bunch of different sizes. There's some larger ones, and then there's some tiny ones. And I just use my X-Acto knife. I probably have way too much glue on here. I actually didn't realize that was going to come out. I've been having kind of issues with that glue, and so see these really tiny ones? Super tiny. Oops. Probably should have worked from the bottom up. And like I said, you should have plenty of stars. And you can just add them. And here's another really tiny one. And the glue will dry clear, so it will be fine. And I definitely like the placement of my sentiment on this one a lot better. So here's my very first one, and you can see that my sentiment is kind of off. I was not sure. Oh, that looks crooked. I wasn't sure of I stamped the sentiment first on this one and wasn't sure what I was going to do with the stars. So knowing kind of my design, I definitely was able to do that a little bit different. And then you open it up and you'll have that star on the inside, and then you can write your message or stamp an inside message right under here. So let's just take a look at the cards that we did. So here's this one with the dark grain wood, and then here's this one with the light. And then here's our mason jar cards. And then my favorite one is probably the snowflake. One without the flagged end, and then one with the flagged end. So I really love these. It was quite a challenge for myself to make Christmas themed cards without a lot of product. That was really fun. And I love this In Good Taste designer paper. I just think it's gorgeous. I think they did such a great job, and it's really so versatile when you sit down and you really start to look through it and think about projects and start to use it. I think that this paper is really, really versatile. The only piece that I don't really love is this one, and I feel like you could still do something with it. I don't like the color, like the pink, but I love this side. So that's great too, right? I always love it when designer paper, if you don't like one side and the other side you do, I always think that's a win. It's always a struggle when you love both sides of the paper, right? So all in all, great, right? So next month, our Blessed2Craft make and take packets will be using the fall winter catalog product. So I just placed an order yesterday for some items, and this weekend I will be designing the packets. And then if you're already currently signed up, you will get a sneak peek this weekend when I put photos in our private exclusive Facebook group. And then you will also get an email. So if you're not on Facebook, it's okay. I know I have several of you guys that don't do Facebook at all. That's totally okay. I'll send an email out with a supply list and the projects that we're going to do and all of that. So I hope that you guys enjoyed these cards. Thanks, Mary. I really love the snowflake one too. I hope you guys enjoyed these cards and hanging out with me today. This is my favorite event of the month, is our Blessed2Craft make and take, because I enjoy so much being able to craft with you guys. Makes me think about the card class that I used to do, and the ladies that used to come, and we got to just hang out and craft, and that was always fun. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today, and I will be back on Friday, and we will create another project. Okay. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, and I will chat with you guys later.